Hey everybody, Robot here from Vespa, Motorsport, and Scooterwest.com. Today I'm going to show you how to replace your standard cast aluminum foot peg with this new custom design Vespa Motorsport anodized aluminum foot peg. So they're similar shape, they're all machined aluminum, and they have the Vespa Motorsport insignia on the top. And we have them in 4 different flavors here. So of course, the most popular is probably gonna be the black. That's a nice jet black anodized finish. And last we have the natural anodized, just natural aluminum finish. Kind of gives almost a finish. You can see they have a nice texture to them, especially present on this natural. You can kind of feel the machine texture on there. It's got some pretty sharp ribs on the top. Give your passenger the assurance that they're gripping the foot peg, and from the backside it's pretty much patterned after the original. So I'm going to show you how to separate the foot peg, the aluminum foot peg, from this bracket, and we'll be able to install these. And if you're looking for these on the Scooterwest web store, just search for the standard part number. It's CM 017201. And there's a suffix of the colors that we have available. Right. So you need a 5mm Allen key, preferably a nice long one that's like on a T-handle. That's going to work best. There's 20,000 different ways to skin a cat to get something off. So whatever works. There's the more difficult fastener. It's kind of directly behind the peg. And usually they're not all that tight. Generally, I'll just start with that one, not remove the fastener, and then I'll move to this front one. Get the front fastener all the way out. Of course, have the peg extended. Kind of just carefully pull the fastener out. You're gonna have the wave washer and the flat washer. And this fastener, usually I'll just pull it out along with a peg so you don't lose that fastener in the frame. Just like that. Going to pull the fastener out, and then we're going to go to the vise on the workbench, change out the outer aluminum foot peg itself. All right, so we have the foot peg upside down in a vise right here. I kind of have it clamped in the front. Need a couple size screwdrivers. I got kind of a thicker screwdriver. Then you're going to need a fine flat jeweler's screwdriver. We're going to use it not as a screwdriver but as a little pry tool. We're going to start by getting this pivot pin out, and there's a spring washer in between the steel plate right here and the foot peg itself, and typically you can lift up on that with a bigger screwdriver to kind of free up the clip. And oftentimes you can get something really thin between the clip and pry that clip off. So I'll kind of show what's going on right here. So it's an E-clip. You want to be careful not to lose that. It's a standardized part, but it slides right off. You just need to use a small screwdriver to do so. And at this point, you have that pivot pin, and you use our small screwdriver to poke the pivot pin through. And it's kind of hangs up, and there's a little bit of spring tension on it. So kind of just pull it away, and you can separate that wave washer and the pin, and just fold that out of the way for the time being. So now the peg's kind of flopping around in the breeze here. You have this center spring, and then you have this pivot pin. Sometimes you got to kind of bend things a little bit and move it around, and then you'll be able to pop this steel pin out. And I just used a small screwdriver. Then carefully pull this away right here. So you can see the foot peg right here. There's 2 little rubber pads. The new foot peg will operate without these rubber pads, but I'd recommend prying them off. They're going to be glued down, and you could use something like a small screwdriver just to pry it off, and we'll glue them to the new anodized aluminum foot peg. So obviously be careful not to poke yourself. Sometimes they're on there very, very tight. And in some cases I've seen where they just pop right off, or they'll be missing. And so this one's glued on pretty good. So there you go. Pries off, you see a little bit of the rubber left behind. And obviously, I'm trying to show the camera, I'd probably do this up against the workbench so I'm not gonna make any errors and stab myself. And it's almost out of there. So the little rectangular rubber piece comes out as well. So go ahead and locate the correct side. So I'm working on the left, so this is the left side peg. Pretty much it's machined to be pretty identical to that original. So the original side. Pretty much you could use a glue of your choice. It's not critical at all. Anything from rubber cement, silicone, super glue, probably epoxy is a little bit of an overkill. Just something to hold that rubber in place. You don't need much at all. Just a little dab will do. And then you could put the little rubber bits back in place. And then same with this little one. You can just slide it right in there, put a small amount of glue on the back. May want to let it cure. I'm in a hurry today, so I'm just gonna, nice thing about silicone is it kind of just has a tackiness, so it will hold things in place. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and put the peg in place. And the difficult part sometimes is this spring that's in the middle here. So I'm holding the peg, and you need to kind of align everything. You pop the pin right through. You may even, if your pegs are pretty old, it may be a good idea even to put some grease. So you're going to put this up, and you're looking down there, and you can see the spring is kind of out of position. Sometimes you got to wiggle things all around, get everything to line up. So I'm looking straight down. Then eventually, wiggling this little spring around, it will eventually engage and allow that pin to go all the way through. Okay. So you're going to want to typically open up this hole. You could check the fitment. Sometimes the pins have different tolerances, and sometimes they'll fit perfectly through there. If it doesn't fit through, 17/64 on our drill bit. And double check the fitment. It fits in just perfect. So go ahead and take the pin, pop that through, and I'm going to get this washer. The washer has pretty tight tolerances as well, so you may need to jiggle it around. Sometimes you want to flip it over. And go ahead and tip everything over. I didn't really let the glue cure, so things are going to move around a little bit. I'm going to have your flat bladed screwdriver, and you can kind of look at it from the top and aim the pin for that hole, and you'll be able to pop it all through here. There you go. And then you can use a flat blade screwdriver to kind of give it a twist to get that pin all the way through. This is usually a pretty tight fit. And expose that little groove there. If the groove isn't exposed, you can leave the screwdriver under there and kind of keep it a twist on it. You want to take like a small set of needle nose, and then you could pop this E-clip back in place. So snap in there. Go and pull the peg out of my vise, see if it all works. There you go. And we'll go ahead and install that on the scooter. All right, so I'm about to install the foot peg. Just a couple little tips. You can see these holes. This one's kind of hollowed out to where it's a larger size hole there. You may need to do the same with this rearmost. You could either accomplish that with a 1/2-inch drill bit or a little die grinder carefully and open up that hole. Oftentimes it'll give you better adjustability to get the foot peg centered in this opening. So start with the rearmost fastener. I have my nice long Allen key right here. And you gotta find your way around until you catch the threads. Get it threaded in. Then we'll move to the frontmost fastener. So you may want to get something wedged in between the actual steel frame while you're tightening that rearmost fastener. And then we'll do a little test closure. You can see it's pretty tight tolerance right there. And there you go. All right, so I hope you like that install. Not too complicated of a job, even though you have a complicated little mechanism. So I chose red on the SuperTech because it matches only one thing on the scooter, the American reflector. So what color would you choose? Post in the comments, let us know. We have ample stock of all these different finishes. I hope you like that one. And if you're wondering what years these fit, pretty much if you got a GT, a GTS, a SuperTech, a Sesjorni, a GTV, any of the large frame Vespas starting in 2005 all the way up to this current 2024, these will fit. See you on the next one. Robot here.